Hey, it's today, and today I'm happy to announce we have a release date for the Combat update, and that is December 15. Now, I noticed in my previous playthroughs that I barely do anything on the starting planet after I leave it, so I figured, why not make a little speedrun guide that shows you how you can get off your starting planet as soon as possible, so that you can set up a proper base on the planet of your choice. Now the method I'm going to show you is probably not perfect, but it is going to be easy to use it on any planet that you might start out on, and it's actually fast enough to get you the speedrun achievement as well, so I think it's pretty good. I'm going to use a random seed just to prove my point, so let's get going. As always, just start with mining your actual starting platform, mine some trees, mine some stone while you're at it, and then head to the iron veins. In the meanwhile, you also want to queue up all the basic research. Start from the top, get yourself some belts, get yourself some smelters, get yourself some assemblers, and then we're going to focus on the electromagnetic matrix. We also need the graphite and steel in order to get anything else going. And then just because it's easy, I'm also going to get the fluid storage. There we go. Let's click everything away, and you want to just queue up the coils that you need for the first resource, some circuit boards on top of that for the next one, and then you're going to need about 10 of these gears in order to get the research after that. As always, and this is probably not going to come as a shock, set up your first miner on the actual iron nodes over here and make sure you power those up. And then once you have that going, you can pretty much just leave the node over here, go straight to the copper, and make sure you start making a new miner. Now, in order to do that, you're actually going to need some of this copper, and of course you want to make sure you have some power to go along with this, so make sure you make a power pole next. Once you have those two miners, make sure you start making some coils and circuit boards in order to unlock the smelters, and you want to make sure you have enough belts and sorters to set up some basic infrastructure to get your automation going. Now, of course, you're going to need some boxes along with that as well. Just one smelter for iron and magnets to begin with is just fine. One for the copper as well. We're going to add a third in there pretty soon. For now, this will do the trick. Also, make sure you're going to need some power. So you might actually want to take down the power pole if that's needed in order to just get yourself going. Take some boxes like this, and I suggest that you just connect them straight to the actual production units. Why is that not working? Hello? There we go. Not sure what the problem was there. So you have that up and running as soon as possible. Now again, one for iron, one for the magnets, and then this one is of course going to be producing the actual copper. Now again, the next thing you want to focus on is the production of some circuit boards and gears in order to unlock the actual assemblers, and in the meanwhile just collect some rocks because you're going to need those in order to build the various new buildings that you're going to need next up. With the assemblers, a simple setup like this where you just dump in some, for example, iron and copper into a box over here, connect it to a assembler to make, in this case, the circuit boards, and then have another outgoing box. This saves you a lot of actual manual manipulation time as well. I also like having a box for some coal, just to make sure I don't run out of power while I'm building. And then I would recommend making another one of these iron smelters in order to get some more of those. And of course, with all of those smelters up and running, it's now time to make sure we automate the coils as well. And the nice thing is we can just dump some copper and as well as magnets in one of these boxes, and we'll get the actual coils out. Now that means we have everything we need in order to get the actual blue signs up and running. So just make sure you keep filling these boxes. Now of course you could connect a belt to this, but resources are in the premium and we're trying to be fast, so all in all the manual transportation is just faster than doing it automated. Now obviously the next step is to actually automate the science production, so we can just dump some coils and circuit boards into a box again like this. Now this will start producing it, and then since I already made a few extra, I can just add in another one of these and set this to research, and now we'll automate our research as long as we keep throwing in some coils and circuit boards. But we also need those to make some other things, so don't go too ballistic on that. Just make sure you keep producing all of that all the time. Now, while you're waiting for that blue science to be completed, and again, make sure you go for the purification and the steel smelting next. I also like setting up some additional facilities just to kind of preload everything else I want to do after this. So setting up a small a glass and stone facility over here does the trick. And maybe setting up, let's make sure we're across the fault line over there. Setting up an additional iron facility is very useful as well. Basically what we want is another facility making, at least one making iron and maybe one making magnets. I actually don't think you need the second magnet one. Let's just stick with some more of these. And some boxes, of course, to go along with it. Now, the reason we're setting this up is because we're also going to need some iron, so we actually need another smelter. Do we have that? Nope, let's make one. And while you're waiting for your blue science to be completed, don't forget to set up some other things that you're going to need. So I like setting up another line of iron facilities like this. One is going to go just into iron, so we have a bit more of that. Another one is turning into gear, so we can easily make some more of these belts. And another one is already prepared to start making some steel once we unlock it. Similarly, over here I have a smelter ready to make some graphite. And I made a small little facility over here to make some stone and glass. Now, this one is actually purely optional, and just because I'm lazy. But you might as well just set up while you're working at it. Now, other than that, you might want to add in a couple more of these assemblers to make some more of these. However, you're probably going to be bottlenecked by the amount of resources you have available, so don't overdo it. And if you feel that things are slowing down, don't forget that you probably are going to need some additional power, and you also can handcraft some signs to help things along. At the same time, try to expand your power grid in the direction of wherever your oil is. In my case, that's right over there, because of course we're going to need that to get the red signs in order to actually leave the planet and get the upgrades we need for that. The next up on the research list are, of course, high efficiency plasma control, plasma refining, as well as the energy matrix, because that actually unlocks the red science. Now, the next thing after that is the mecha core upgrades, as well as over here, the drive engine to unlock the flight, and then the mecha sail after that will actually unlock the interplanetary flight. And of course, as before, don't forget you can prep while you're waiting for research to complete. So I already put the science facility up here. I built some additional power and I have some basic belt work going into two storage things over here that I can now start using towards making some oil refineries. However, of course, we still need to actually make those oil refineries. Making an oil refinery without an actual pump isn't very useful though, so make sure you stick to the correct order there. When it comes to the actual oil production, I recommend having filters set on your belts. So you have oil going to one belt and the hydrogen going to the other one. And then initially just collect it in here while you set this facility up. Make sure you don't neglect your power production, because otherwise everything might look like it's very impressive, but it won't actually be producing anything. And in preparation of leaving the planet and keeping everything automated, start adding in your belts, and I would recommend going first with the hydrogen, because that's the most important thing that you're going to need to transport. And of course, as soon as this is unlocked, we can start producing the red signs here. And there we go, it should look something like this when you're done setting everything up. We're about to complete the last achievement that will allow us to leave the planet. The belts are in place to make sure all the science production is automated. It's not going to be fast, but it is going to take away, even though we are only using these starting nodes, it's not going to be anything impressive, but we're only using this for that science production. So we're not building any malls, spending any time on that. I have quite a bit of things like miners and smelters and things like that already in production, a couple of hundred belts as well. So basically, this will allow me to leave the planet ASAP, set up on the other planet, set up a shop there, and also build a mall there, and then basically do my thing while the science keeps ticking away. Now, what you could do alternatively is also research chemical engineering and set up an acid production before you leave, because you're going to need that, of course, for the titanium, but that's completely up to you, depending on what you want to do. Well, guys, this is a pretty nice setup that will allow you to leave your planet within the first hour and set up shop wherever you want. Hope you found this useful. I look very much forward in sharing the excitement about you with the comment update in a couple of weeks from now. Make sure you subscribe for that if you haven't done so yet, and I hope to catch you in the next one.